The older I get, I don't think it's about good or bad. I just feel like it's about getting out of our own way and starting to recognize what's happening here. There's a sickness. And we spend so much time trying to feel good and be happy and being fabulous that we just won't look at it. It's too painful. The amount of suffering that there is. We don't need to feel guilty about what we went through. We don't need to feel bad about it. We can ask for help. We can ask for forgiveness. We can be forgiving. We can move ahead. We can move past this. And I'm using my family as an example, but I think that this can be applied to any family. Some people are going to show up. Some people are not going to show up. But I just don't think that you move ahead until you suffer enough. And there's a lot of dirty work to do. There's a lot of heavy lifting to do. And there's a handful of people in the world waking up. So we can continue this game or we can get out of it. And I'm really proud of Jeremiah. Jeremiah's just gone through hell and back, through all the carnival games and all the promises of man's world. And he's come out extremely cognitive and aware of his environment and the circumstances. Spirituality and being a good person and all this stuff doesn't always look pretty. It comes out of a lot of pain. We have this image of this, godlike, perfect person that people try to live up to. That's not reality. There's not one person who's on this planet that's pure. By far. But it's by acknowledging that we start to move forward. By acknowledging, like, wow, I was an asshole. Wow, I was mean. That we can begin to transform that. We can't transform any of that until we acknowledge it. And just being a fake person and pretending that you're perfect and fabulous, you're just treading water. It's a disservice to yourself and others. And how all this connects, all this suffering to all this spirituality, is what John said. He said, God has already given in abundance to man. It's only in our lack of love for one another that there's such scarcity. We don't want to share. Nobody wants to share. It's so hard to even get yours, your own, your basic needs met that nobody wants to share. Nobody cares. It blows my mind how people talk about homeless people. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about each other. Nobody cares. And it's a conversation that's like taboo. Like overall in the world, nobody cares about each other. Like nobody does. Sometimes if they could spare it. Some people kind of feel it sometimes if they could spare it. But generally, the way the power structure is set up is nobody cares, nobody shares. And that's the hard nobody cares, nobody shares. And that's the hard conversation that we have to have. That's the hard conversation we have to have with ourselves. It's ugly. It's not fun. Who wants to have a not fun conversation? And it's ugly. It's not fun. Who wants to have a not fun conversation with themselves? To point that out to other people. Who wants to be the person to point that out to other people? Who wants to be the one to go to try to transform all this bullshit about equality and all this bullshit about equality, being PC and all this stuff is still founded in the idea that I'm better than you. Nobody cares. Nobody shares. And I'm not even saying I care or share, but I'm willing to look at it. And that to me is the beginning. That's where I get excited. I think, well, we can at least admit that we're selfish. Then we're getting somewhere. Then something moves and something feels fresh again. We're not stagnating. We have everything we need and nobody gives a shit about each other. That should be horrifying.